my coochie was hurting so much that I couldn't remember anything you told me to do with the baby after he was born. But she said, but once everything was calm and we got home, I started recalling everything.
This ain't your average healing chat. It's healing through conversations with me, Loveli Brown. Real talk, deep healing, zero fluff.
Hey guys, this is Lovely with Lovely Esteem, and welcome back to the Healing Through Conversations podcast. I have the honor. Sometimes when you talk to someone, you feel like you made a connection and you're not always 100% sure, but we've supported each other for the last 2 years on the internet. We're in different spaces, different time zones as well.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed the post that you do with the babies so much. And I've learned so much from you with regards to tongue ties. But honestly, I've learned what it means for you to have support. Because I feel like without that maternal support, without your doctor understanding what you're going through, without you teaching us about what it looks like to have family and community to come out and support you, especially for new moms and parents who may be in the midst of adoption or who may inherit kids, it can be so overwhelming and not know what's going on. On top of that, we haven't spoken to each other like
I know.
virtual face to face. So we're
I
catching up.
know.
Dr. Nguyen, thank you for coming on the podcast. Tell me, how have you been? What's going on? I'm
Oh
nosy.
my gosh. Oh, I love it. I have so much to share. I mean, I can't believe 2 years has passed already since we last connected, but it's such an honor to be here with you. I'm so happy you were like, yes, let's do this.
I was in a car. I said, "Oh yes, we're doing this now."
Well,
And then I was like, "That way it doesn't." I said, "I don't even want it." My husband was like, "You talking to the doctor with the babies?" I said, "You remember?" He was like, "You were so excited about her." I said,
oh, that makes me so happy. So yeah, since our last connection, I moved to a farm. So I'm not in LA anymore.
"Sustainable? That's what we're doing."
So, well, I met a boy
Okay.
and when I met him, he already said to me, he's like, look, if this gets serious, you're gonna have to move because I hate LA. There's no way I'm moving to LA. And so I was like, yeah, we'll see what happens. And then it got serious and he was like, so are you gonna move? And I was like, seriously? So we're in Modesto and nobody knows where that is. Have you heard of Modesto?
I have heard about it, but let me say this. I've only heard of it because somebody might say I'm in between this and this. You
Oh,
know what I
okay.
mean? Okay.
I thought you were gonna say the Lacey Peterson murder. So when I tell people I moved here, they're like, isn't that where that woman got murdered? Don't let him murder you and throw you in the lake.
Oh my God. Please don't. We love her. We love her.
So yeah, I'm in Central California now. Such a big, big change because I was born and raised in the city and family's in LA. Everybody is in LA. My practice is still in LA, but the timing actually kind of worked out. And I don't know if you're into like serendipity, but I'm very into the universe and the stars and
I
with
am.
the line. And so when I met him and I knew that was a possibility, I was like, this is perfect because it's always been my goal to get out of direct treatment and just teach. And technology nowadays, it's like you can teach virtually anywhere, online, just that whole platform on the internet is amazing. So it makes that possible for people that want to do content stuff and online stuff. So it worked out. So I was like, okay, this is serendipitous. I
I
meant to.
think it's good. I think it's good because you're stretching your wings and trying to figure out what works best
Yeah.
for the patients and not just staying comfortable.
Right. Yeah. And that was kind of where my career was shifting to. I felt like, okay, I've had my practice for 10 years now. I've seen all the babies, all the mommies, all this stuff. And what's my next step? And so professionally and just my career wise, I felt like I kind of hit this plateau where it was like, what do I do now? I feel like I'm bored or something's happening. So and I love teaching, I love public speaking, I love teaching, I love sharing information, and so I was like, "Okay, when I move, that's gonna be the time when I start creating courses and getting more information out there instead of just one-on-one every day." Because as much as I love it, it just gets mentally exhausting after a while where I needed to do more than what I was already doing. So
Yeah, sometimes your spirit is bigger than the building.
I
You know?
yeah, yeah.
And you probably were thinking to yourself, okay, I know I need to reach more people. And then here comes the man. I'm gonna take you somewhere way far away where your brain has time to think and thaw out, and you can kind of figure out. You have time to look around and be like, "There's no cars. Where are the cars? No, we are the cars."
Oh my gosh, lovely. So when it was time for me to move, he was like, "Hey, you wanted a career shift. Here's your time to figure it out." When I moved out here, I was like, "Okay, even if I wanted to open a practice in Modesto, there is nobody out here."
So is it
It's
all farmland for the most
it's all
part?
homeless. So where he is just super isolated. I mean, we would have to drive like 20, 30 minutes into the city where there's more moms, more families, more kids. And it was just too much. So I was like, okay, that's another sign that this is meant to be. So, yes, I did have more downtime to just kind of figure out, okay, what's the first course I want to launch? Do I want to teach parents? Do I want to teach providers? Do I want to teach both? But my practice is still in LA. It's still in San Marino.
And how far away is that?
The drive is about 5 hours. So it's not bad. Oh, yeah. Do you think that's a long drive?
I really do. I really my
So
husband
at
like, "Oh, it's
first,
just going around the corner." That's how my husband feels. "Oh, it's just around the corner." I'm like, 5 hours?
I,
But you know
so
what? You're talking about Los Angeles. You're talking about California.
I,
So you're so
yes,
used to that.
I'm used to driving an hour just to get somewhere that's a mile away. So to me, it was like, okay, I drive 2.5, take a little break, drive 2.5, and then I'm wherever I need to be. Because the other downside is in Modesto, there's no airport. So we have to drive to San Francisco or Sacramento or somewhere else to get to the airport. And that's a 2-hour drive anyway. So it's like, I
You're
that's
driving no
already
matter
halfway
what.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, "Let me figure out how to make this life work for
Yeah.
me." But you look so refreshed. I could like the minute the camera
Uh,
came on, you look like you took a break. You took some deep breaths to like take some of that stress and detox from everything that's happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not to like segue into a whole other topic, but I started having health issues. So that was another thing too, where I was like, okay, I am working myself to death back home because it was just day after day, Monday through Monday, no days off. And I felt like my body started to decline. It's a whole situation, but it started with inflammation. I was getting really bloated, really tired. Of course, every doctor was telling me it's perimenopause. You're in your 40s now. Deal with it. And so I was like, "Oh my God, this is 40s? Like I just go downhill from here." Yeah.
It
Girl.
can be it's very interesting over here is all I can tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But
So,
you know your body and you know
yeah.
that it's more than just
It
that.
was it was more than that. I mean, I knew I was working too much, but I started to get a lot of functional doctors now. So you hear that a lot of providers are becoming functional providers because it's not just about, hey, here's a prescription, go take some pills or whatever. So I got good doctors, got to the root cause. It was diet, alcohol, sugar, candy, everything. And once I detoxed and did all the herbal supplements, all that inflammation went down and I felt better. But it added on with just not having to stress about work 24/7. So it was a lot of things, but I'm alive, I'm happy, I'm healthy. I do have a lot of appointments with doctors coming up. I go back to LA for all those visits, but so far so good.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even a segue. That like honestly, when it kind of still falls in line with our conversation today, which is how stress affects
Right.
you, your
Yeah.
family, your babies. You know, if
Um,
you're a mom who's stressed out, you're passing all of those hormones to the baby. The baby feels that for the next 9 to 10 months if you get to carry long enough. But
right.
stress can also,
No.
cause you to give birth early or,
Right.
God forbid, miscarry. So there's
Yeah.
so many things. I mean, on top of the fact that I really feel like inflammation is really a larger sign of like autoimmune. And what does stress do? It affects
Absolutely. Right.
everything.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that actually brings a good point too, is I thought about when all my health situation things came up and so many doctors were brushing it off and telling me no big deal. It did make me think of all the babies that I see because by the time they get to me, they've actually been told by so many pediatricians already that it was no big deal. It was normal. Your baby will get over it. You'll get over it. And basically just brushing it off as you're it's not an issue. Meanwhile, you have this poor mom who is just declining, and trying to figure out how to help her baby, but everyone's telling her nothing's wrong. And then she thinks she's going crazy. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, this can't be perimenopause. Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind.
I mean,
So
part of perimenopause is losing a little bit. That brain fog is so
I
scary.
know. Yeah.
Just think that, like you said, when you know your body, when you know
Right.
what it feels like to have a really healthy you, and then when you are kind of, and I think because we were having this conversation off camera, we're such go getters. And we
Right.
want to give everybody 100% every single time we are
Mhm.
connected to them that
Yeah.
you forget that you are a person. Like you start to treat yourself like a
Yeah.
robot.
I know. Yeah. And then it just catches up to you. And then one day I'm just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm dying, guys. Like something's not right here. But yeah, I mean, just to say too, it's like our healthcare system needs to do better. And so that kind of leads me to why I'm here with you today is I wanted to do better for my clients, future clients, everybody, and just get that information out there basically.
Yeah.
So,
So what Christine is
yeah.
talking about. Oh, I'm so excited for you for this
Thank
because
you.
I feel like even when we spoke last time, one of the comments that kind of resonated with your interview was that you were so detailed in explaining things. And I think that that is what a good teacher is. They're very detailed in explaining it, but can talk to people in at every level, right? You
Yeah,
can talk layman, have a regular conversation with somebody. Maybe you need to have a step up the levels a little bit, all the way up to the ultra professionals
right.
where now you're using words that you haven't used since
I
you were in
know.
school, you know? But I think that that's where when you were talking, I mean, when you sent me the email and I was like, okay, pregnancy to parenthood. Like, how does that
Yeah,
look? How can we help moms feel better? But in its that extension is the mom feels better, the baby feels better, the
right,
dad feels better, the siblings feel better,
right.
the household. So talk to us about your new program.
Thank you. So this course is for parents. Like a 7 module course. So if parents purchase a course, what they'll see is that there's 7 different modules, and how it works is they're very short too. I would say each of them are like 15 minutes or less, and it just goes into detail of all the what if situations. And that's why I created the course is there's so many what if situations that moms aren't prepared for. And so when things come up, they're blindsided by all these issues. Or the big thing that I find after, 10 years of having my practice is I still get moms coming into my office telling me that they've been told that it's no big deal, their baby will grow out of it, they're crazy, and so they go down this rabbit hole. And on top of that, they're experiencing postpartum and, just all the hormones and the stress of just creating and giving birth to this little human. And if there's any degree of struggle for that baby, she needs help right away, And to have so many people, especially physicians, tell her that you're being crazy or, hey, just bottle feed your baby. It's like, if a mom wants to breastfeed, why aren't we helping her? And why are we making her feel like it's her fault if she can't do it? And, that was, I would say, one of the main reasons for me is I'm so sick and tired of moms having to suffer in silence and to feel like they are crazy or they're not good enough. And they lose so much of that bonding in the early months and weeks and, even the first few years of having this new baby because things are a little bit off. And sometimes the solution is so simple. It's just having the right person step in to help them so that the issue doesn't become bigger. But yeah, I just felt like it was like, okay, it's time. We need to put a course together and just get this information out there because there are prenatal courses. There's a lot of preventative things out there. But I feel like because there's so much information, moms don't know where to start.
I
And,
agree with you.
they just need kind of a pinpoint, basically. So I'm hoping this will be something that parents value because, a colleague said to me recently too, where I don't know if it made me feel like, oh man, did I do the right course or what's going to happen? So she also works with kids and she said to me, even though your course sounds really great, it's all about prevention. I hate to break it to you, but parents pay for pain, not for prevention. And even though I felt like, "Oh, shoot, is that true?" I mean, we humans in general, we're typically going to treat something when it's an issue.
Yeah.
But then I felt like, okay, I created this course because I don't want that to be the case anymore. So even though that might be 90% true, let's change that paradigm and start shifting our focus towards prevention because everyone talks about how much they hate the healthcare system and the medical system, but it's like, what are we doing then to offset that? We have to look at prevention. Even though it's scary, it might be scary to think, okay, these are all the things that might happen with my baby, but wouldn't you rather know and have a plan than to be blindsided and then you're in a panic?
No, I
You know?
agree, but I think that what your program brings along with that is advocacy, right? And I
Right.
think that a lot of people who go to their physicians or their clinicians, they are in defense mode already.
Right,
Right?
right.
They're not
Yeah,
in offense mode at all.
right.
And
Yeah,
you're promoting offense. That's how I talk to my clients. Offenses.
yeah.
Let's figure out ways things are going to happen. But if
Right.
we have a plan and we have an idea, it makes it so much better. But we're not
Sure.
born in a culture where they teach you to prevent something. It's
I know.
always the aftermath, the burn down.
Right, right. Yeah. So the thing too is a lot of moms obviously will want to breastfeed their babies, right? But the challenges happen way before the baby's even born, before
Mhm.
even the first latch happens. And so that was another reason why I wanted to get this information out there and create a parent friendly course like this because typically moms, the issue happens and they see the issue. Baby can't latch. Now we're having breastfeeding issues. And then the solutions come after that, which seems like it would make sense, right? Like, okay, your baby's not latching. Now you need a lactation consultant. You might need a pump. You might need to do some bottle feeding. But then it's like, let's think backwards. So that way, before that issue even happens, they already have a plan in place. So, what I mean by that is having all the providers lined up, basically.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that they're gonna need everybody, but it's more of, "Okay, shoot, my baby's not latching. I don't wanna pump or I don't wanna jump to bottle feeding. This is who's gonna help me," because they're gonna look at all the things that my baby is doing or not doing to help me. And it's the lactation consultant. So that's another thing I find is that in the hospital, every mom will get a lactation consultant that will come check in on you right after you give birth. But then once they go home, nobody, there's no
That has
other
to help with
to
the
step in.
frustrating part when you're You're crying and the
Right.
baby's crying, and you're sweating and the baby's sweating. And
Right.
yeah,
Right. And so what happens is if a mom doesn't know that, in her mind, it's we left the hospital, so everything is I'm on my own now. And that's not true at all. They can definitely have a team pre-built already so that they can reach out to these people. But that's something where, yeah, I feel like it's all the what ifs that everyone's so scared of, but it's the what ifs that's gonna make things more seamless for you once you get home.
yeah, and I think that it's like so when you are diagnosed or have a mental health illness, a lot of the times you create an emergency plan, right?
Right,
But if you ever have another issue, they know where to go, who to
right,
call, what to do. This is
r
the same thing, right? This is the same notion to say, okay,
right,
if I'm going to have a baby, I should know all before the baby comes out. Here are some of the things that you're going to need. Here are some of the people that you can talk to. Let's create
r
this plan so
yeah,
that your panic is not at 110. It's going to still be at 60
right,
because
yeah,
you're a mom, no matter what, all those
right,
moms trying to figure out where they're going to
yeah,
go.
yeah,
Insane. But knowing that you already are thinking of ahead of the game and your course isn't to fearmonger. That's what I think sometimes people
yeah,
think they're in
right,
their head. They're like, you're going to tell me everything that's going to go wrong. No, no, no.
no,
I'm going to
yeah,
also tell you what's going to go right. But
right,
if
yeah,
you ever hit a place where we're stuck or where the static starts to happen, we can say instead of thinking to yourself, "I wish I would have known sooner," you can say, "I
right,
took this course that was
yes,
really good,
yeah.
and here I am now."
Right. And that's the thing too is I'm always very gentle with how I present information because I never want people to feel like I'm trying to scare them or stop them from having a baby or, to stress them out where they don't enjoy their pregnancy or their baby. But it's more of, hey, I want you to have this information because nobody else is going to give it to you. And by the time this information gets to you, you're already in the problem.
Yeah.
And it's stressful, especially if surgery is brought up, which we'll talk about too, is, the procedure for a tongue tie. It's a quick laser procedure, but they do call it a surgical intervention. And that's scary when a parent hears that. You don't want your baby to undergo any sort of procedure.
Yeah, especially as small as they are, and when your
No.
mind can go in so many different directions because you
Right.
don't fully even and I'm sure as detailed as you are in in your explanation, because they didn't even hear it prior to having a baby, they've not
Right.
had this conversation, that they're
Right.
still the anxiety around that is pretty high.
Right, right. And, that's the thing too, is I make sure that I go deep into all the details of the pregnancy, the family history, the birthing process. And these are all factors that I find that people generally overlook. So here's an example. I evaluated a baby a few months ago who just was not latching. Usually when parents come to me, it's because of breastfeeding issues. And so this baby wasn't latching, mom's supply was dropping, and they had seen everybody you can think of. And, this poor mom was like, we're getting conflicting information. We just don't know if it's a tongue tie thing, if it's not. He's just not gaining weight anymore. And everyone is telling me to do bottle. I don't know what else to do. And for me, it was like, okay, even though I specialize in tongue tie, I tell every family that's the last thing I'm going to look at because that's not the only thing that your baby is using to feed. If we're only looking at the mouth, we're missing the entire picture. And also, I don't want any baby to do surgery if they don't have to, if that's not the issue. And digging deeper in her history, this is where a lot of the problem solving started to unfold because when I asked her, okay, everyone that's seen you, what are they assessing? She's like, the mouth. They're touching his mouth, his tongue, constantly shoving him on the boob, putting bottles in his mouth. All the focus was here in the now. but nobody asked about the pregnancy history, the delivery. He had a traumatic delivery, basically yanked out. So we know that's going to create tension. I mean, imagine if you're sitting and I just grab you out of your,
Oh, I know. Hello. Wait a
right?
minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Your body's gonna go into a fight or flight. You're gonna tense up. You're gonna, get all these like aches and pains everywhere. And so that was a factor that nobody was looking at. The
Mhm.
other issue too that mom also didn't know was significant was she had a pretty bad fall during her pregnancy and she was hospitalized. And even though the baby was stable, everyone was fine, thank God. But it's like, that's a pretty significant piece that everyone on the team should have known. Because what ended up happening was this baby, after I evaluated him, it wasn't about the tongue tie, it wasn't about the breastfeeding, it was his nervous system. And it could have been from mama's fall, it could have been from traumatic delivery, and those in combination, it's like, this is a baby that needs gentle therapy, gentle movement. Stop sticking your finger in his mouth. Stop touching that tongue tie. It's not the issue. Let's teach mom how to regulate with her baby, how to hold her baby, how to read his cues when he's stressed out. And then that's where we're going to see the feeding improve. And so it's details like that where I make sure I go over in the course to explain to parents, like, hey, if you're having feeding issues, it's probably not just the feeding.
Yeah.
And if everyone is just looking at the feeding and just sticking their finger in your baby's mouth and trying to shove a boob or a bottle in there and you're not getting progress, we're missing we're missing something obviously. And so that's what I help parents do is you have to advocate for your baby and you need to give the details. And that's where it's finding the right team because the pediatrician's not, look, I love pediatricians. I never want it to seem like I'm bashing them, but a lot of what parents come in and tell me is the pediatricians are dismissing a lot of stuff. And no fault of their own because their job is to make sure your baby is alive
And the
and
baby is alive,
right?
not happy at all.
Right, right. So then that's where, I want to empower parents to learn how to advocate for their baby. It's like, look, the pediatrician is not going to sit there with you for an hour to get all this information from you. Let's accept it and move on. But now that you know that, let's find the providers that will have time to sit there and get all that information from you because then the treatment is going to change. And then that's where we need the pediatrician to step in and write the referral or to help you find, okay, if we're going through insurance or you want private providers, whatever. Now they can be like, okay, now that we know this is the issue, here are all the people you can see. And so it's just bridging those gaps too. And that's another thing I find is that when a baby has an issue, there's so many gaps in provider care
And I
because no
think I'm sorry, I didn't even mean
no,
to
go
interrupt you,
ahead.
but my brain was thinking. A lot of people don't know how many specialists and
Right,
specialties that are out there, and I think
right.
that's where your course will really help because a lot of people just think that they just go to the pediatrician and that is it
No.
when there's so many other places that they can take
Right.
their problems to.
Yeah, and you bring that transition perfectly because I also talk about building the team too for your baby. And that's a scary part for parents is when they see the list of everyone your baby could have from a lactation consultant to possibly a neurologist. When you see that, it's like, oh my God, my baby's going to need a neurologist. It's like, no, we don't know that. But if your baby does, let's have them ready. Let's know where to look and know where to find them. Otherwise, you're scrambling and you're stressed out, and now everything's in chaos, And the moms that I've done prenatal care with, the moms that have taken this course, have all told me the same thing is it helped me after I had my baby because I already knew who to go to. And like you said earlier, they're still going to be stressed out. I've had moms where they're like, I was stressed as all hell. And, I felt like my whole world was turned upside down. But I remembered that these are the little red flags. These are the people I turn to. I'm not going to get mad at my pediatrician if they dismiss it because I know how to fight for my baby now. And that's really the goal, is to empower these moms, because I feel like on top of growing a baby in their belly, giving birth to this baby, and then raising the baby, there's so much pressure on them to be perfect and to deal with the stress and to not cry and all these things. And it's like, it's okay to feel weak, to feel lost, to feel challenged, but let's empower you. Let's give you solutions so that way when the problems do come up, you're not, in complete chaos.
Yeah, I mean, but I think we were also off camera. I was just saying that a lot of conversations that I have surrounding motherhood, I'm like, before you get pregnant, if you're thinking about getting pregnant, I really think that therapy, counseling, even talking to um just having coaches or mentors who can talk to you not about the woes, because I feel like a lot of women, when they start talking about pregnancy, most of the conversation is, and your teeth are going to fall out and you won't have
Right.
big hair, and like it's so, you're like, dude, I cannot handle this. All right.
Yeah.
But really having somebody there who can talk to you about, like, a doula's a wonderful people
Right.
to have be a part of your team, because
Right.
they are such a holistic way to look at pregnancy. So, like, learning how to ask like specific questions, but also
Exactly.
understanding that. And I wanted to ask you, like, I want you to explain to the audience your career track and how you were able to even come up with this course, because you've been doing this for 10 plus years and being in spaces with moms who are at their lowest moments with their children. So you've got to see the highs and the lows to be able
Right.
to even give somebody a red flag or help them notice cues and issues that they may see.
Right. So, I mean, I started off doing behavioral therapy with kids with autism when I was 18 years old. And straight out of high school, I'm thrown into the mix with, children that were severely on the spectrum. And I did that for about 10 years, became an OT. So I've been in healthcare for over 20 years with kids. And right, I have seen the whole range because I worked with adults for a long time too. And just seeing all kind of the different diagnoses and the challenges along the way, so many of that goes back to infancy. And, I'm not saying we can prevent everything, but if we know early on, we can reduce a lot of the symptomology or the issues because we're catching those red flags early on. Rather than, like I said, we're waiting for the pain to happen. It's like, no, let's not, and it's not even about prevention either. It's also about just knowing when an issue is an
Informed,
issue.
being
Right.
informed. Yeah.
Being informed and then just knowing what to do. It's like we always wait until things are a whole disaster before we try to offset it. But if we know early on, then we can change a lot of the trajectory of what's happening. And for me, it's like I said, working with newborns up until, I worked in nursing homes. It's like I've seen the whole range from birth to end of life. And a lot of it is our health that we don't see, and that's the internal health inside the body, what is happening. It's easy for us to see the symptoms and treat the symptoms, but if we're backtracking and know the whole picture, it just makes it a lot easier. The example I give families is, think of it this way. If you know your family is at risk for heart disease because, of
Weak.
family history, right? If you have a baby, you don't take the baby directly to OR in cardiology and have them remove the heart and give the baby a new one. You plan ahead. So you think, okay, we have heart issues in the family. Baby could be at risk for heart stuff. So what are the things we can do to make sure that our baby moves in a good, healthy direction? We choose healthier food options. We limit their processed food intakes and sugar. And as they get older, we talk to them about, cigarettes and alcohol and drugs and what to stay away from. We create a healthy lifestyle for them where they're active and they're not just sedentary all the time. So you take those little steps to help get them in a good direction. And then obviously, if we start to see health things like breathing issues, sleep apnea, weight issues, then it's like, okay, we know there's family history of heart stuff. Our child, our baby, our, teenage, whatever is showing signs and symptoms. Let's start building a team. Let's find out what's going on. So it's having that knowledge, that information so that you can plan ahead proactively. What I like to say to families is there's a difference between wait and see and do nothing and wait and see and be proactive.
I love that.
Right? And so it's like, I'm not here to scare parents and say, oh my God, these are all the things that are going to happen. It's like in the 10 plus years that I've been working with infants, these are the things that I've seen that typically do come up. Here is what a blueprint would look like. It doesn't mean you're going to need all 10 people on this list. It doesn't mean your baby's going to have all these issues. But as you start to encounter challenges or feeding issues, know that, okay, we need to address it. And you need the right team members, And so, yeah, it's just having those all your A team basically. The example I give
I
in the
love
course.
no, seriously, the 18, no joke, and realizing that a lot of the times they're gonna be sitting on the sideline. You may not even
Yeah,
need them, but
right.
knowing that you have them will give you that the anxiety that we have a lot of the time is because we've created a movie that doesn't even exist, right?
Right.
We're
Yeah.
well, I don't wanna and culturally sometimes, depending on how you grew up, you
Right.
don't wanna bring that into your house. You don't wanna think about that. I'm like, why wouldn't you want to have a
Oh, yeah.
proactive way of looking at your health?
Right. Yeah. And I think because of my own health journey too and all the issues I encountered, it was like 3 years passed where I was like, I feel worse and worse. And it was almost my own learning experience because I let it get to a point where I was falling apart. And I started scrambling to find people to help me. And I put a lot of money towards providers, doctors that was a waste of money. But now that I know who I needed, it makes me think for my clients too, like, hey, you don't want to get to a situation where I was, where 3 years into health issues, you completely fell apart. And it's just beyond chaos. It was depressing. I felt like I was getting depressed. And then, I think of these moms too, where they didn't have a team. And so what I find happening is they pay for everybody and everything because they just want to help their baby
Fix.
right
Just
away.
give me a fix. Just fix
Just
it.
just fix, yeah, fix it basically. And one of two things happen is one, they either go and throw money to everybody because they're like, just somebody help me. And then now they're in debt. The baby still has issues. Mom's fully in like depression now. Her supply's gone. Or the complete opposite happens where they're so overwhelmed, they don't know what to do, so they do nothing. And then everybody falls apart too, And so again, it's just having that plan and that solution. And one of the examples I bring up in the course is I said, think of it like having a Formula One team. I don't know if you watch Formula One. Do you watch that at all? Yeah,
Like, hey,
right?
let's go. Like,
Yeah, it's like as soon as there's any accident, no matter how minor or major, it's like this whole team of people
and they're
jump
there,
on
and then they're not there anymore. Like,
it. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
the guy's back in his car just speeding down the thing.
But that's great to think. That's a great way to look at it, especially as a mom, because in your head, you think life is going to slow down, and it
Right.
absolutely does not.
I know. Yeah.
It doesn't, because if your baby is up for 8 hours and then it doesn't feel good and now it's crying for another six and it's
Right.
falling asleep a half an hour, waking up for 2 hours. Now you're depleted, the baby's
Right.
depleted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And so yeah, they need that F1 team. It
Yes.
just
I love that. I love, love, love
yeah.
that.
And,
The wheels back on me. I'm busted, please.
yeah. And it's like we're all here and ready. And, that's another important point of having this course too is I want it to be kind of like a central place for
Mhm.
parents to just kind of go back to like, okay, these are the issues because I make sure I give them a symptom list of all the red flags. And the first one really is if your baby can't latch, and everyone's telling you to do a bottle, but you don't want to do a bottle, hey, here's some people that you can reach out to. And if you don't know who to reach out to me. And I make sure I tell everyone like I'm there to be your pinpoint person. And for me too, it's not about if you call me and need to talk to me, I'm not going to charge families and I'm not like that. It's like of course if we're doing like an eval, then we figure that out.
Because that was professional. We've changed
Right.
the look of things. Yeah.
Right, but I make sure that I answer parents' questions, and, it's like, if you purchase the course, I'm there for you 100%, like, reach out to me if your baby encounters any issue. You don't say you are trying to build your team, but you don't even know where to start. Let me help you start your team, and so sometimes just having that one good person can change a lot of what's going on.
And I love the fact that what I love about courses, and in particular when we can have access virtually, is that it doesn't matter where you live, right?
Right.
Because I may not 100% have a doctor in your area, but I know what we're looking for. I know I know what the keywords. I can help you figure out it's within a certain radius what you need in order to get to where you're trying to go. But I think that what happens with a lot of and I understand that the state has to make sure that insurance and all of the things,
Yeah.
but when you are lost and you're sitting there in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you just don't know
I
what to do with yourself
know.
anymore, having
Right.
a place where you can reach back out and be like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
please help me because I don't know what else to do from here.
Right. Yeah. And like I said too, sometimes the solution is as simple as let's just take a deep breath. Your baby probably needs you to just leave them alone for a minute. And that's something where I tell parents because when a baby's crying, they tend to panic with the baby. And sometimes we just need to just leave them alone. And I'm not saying leave them alone and not pay attention to them. It's like the other example. I give a lot of funny analogies, but it helps people understand. It's like imagine if you're getting in an argument with your significant other. If you're both going at each other, it's going to explode. But if one of you just kind of tones it down a little bit and steps away, it will calm the situation. Because if we're throwing fuel at it and your baby's crying and you're panicking and you're bouncing them and shoving a pacifier in and the white noise and the blackout curtains and bouncing on a yoga ball, it's like your baby's gonna lose their minds because they're like, I
They
can't,
can't tell you, leave me alone. Just leave me
right?
alone. Yeah.
Yeah, or they're like, just cuddle me, just hold me for a
But I
second.
think that all comes from, this culture that we created where you're supposed to be able to give birth, have the perfect birth, go back to the
I
perfect
know.
body, have the
Right.
perfect and I'm
Right.
like, "Hey, one, not everybody has the perfect pregnancy. That's number
Right.
1. Nobody has a perfect pregnancy. Everybody
Right.
experiences something, and
Something.
that's each individual, but also take the word perfect out of it, okay? I mean, the having a baby for a woman is the closest you're gonna get to death to just like you know what I mean? So like the fact that she's already sacrificing her body
Right.
because we have to look at it, it is a sacrifice of love
I
to bring a
know.
baby
Yeah.
into the world. But then once you have that baby, to have everybody giving you all of their advice and
Oh,
what
yeah.
when I had kids, I was back to work at full.
I know. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Right.
Congratulations. But they gypped you out of your leave is what I'm telling you.
Seriously. Yeah.
But I think that a lot of people are so caught up in this Instagram culture of having this perfect birth with this perfect life and the perfect spouse and the perfect job and that
I
you feel like a failure if somehow your body doesn't do what you think it's supposed to do or the baby is
right.
frustrated when it's just You're
Right.
both human,
I
and
I
things happen.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that brings up a good point too with the social media and everything is I get a lot of moms that come to me and they pull up all these posts or these videos and they're like, this is what I read, this is what I saw. And it's like some of it is good information, but a lot of it is just not accurate. Or, what I tell a lot of moms too is just because that worked for that baby doesn't mean it's going to work for your baby. And this is what I emphasize is that there's so many different solutions, so many different problems, but you can't just there's no black and white solution is something that I emphasize too. But again, it's just having a plan makes a big difference. So I had a really candid conversation with my sister. So she had her baby. He's almost 2 years old now. But before she had him, I went over all the prenatal stuff with her, everything. And of course, as I'm doing all of this with her, you can just see this glazed look. And, after she had the baby, I asked her, just tell me stuff. Tell me up front. What helped you? Did the information I gave you, was it effective? Did you apply it? Were you thinking of all these things after delivery? And she flat out was like, look, not gonna lie, my coochie was hurting so much that I couldn't remember anything you told me to do with the baby after he was born. But she said, but once everything was calm and we got home, I started recalling everything. And the moment he had feeding issues, I knew what to do. I knew who to go to. And we had her team pre built already. So she had me for OT, a lactation consultant, a pediatric dentist to do the surgery, pediatricians, a pediatric chiropractor. Literally, everybody was lined up. And so, even though everything was stressful, she told me recently she cried so much. She was journaling all this stuff about how stressful everything was for her baby. But at the end of the day, she felt confident and she felt empowered because she knew that even though this was so stressful and we have to do surgery on the baby, she wasn't as scared because everybody on her team were specialists. And she knew ahead of time already, like, okay, this might happen because of my history, my husband's history. I know my baby might be born with, some feeding challenges, some oral issues, but because she knew all that and she had a plan, it alleviated a lot of that stress for her.
Yeah, because
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of this has to do with mindfulness,
right,
patience, grace, a lot of the things that we don't give ourselves because when we're stressed out, we aren't thinking about
right.
calming down a lot of times. You got the baby
No,
stressed out, the husband
yeah,
stressed out, the mom is
right.
stressed out,
I
the
know.
dog is looking at everybody like, what are you guys doing over here? And I think
Yeah.
you giving people permission to create safe spaces before pregnancy, honestly, because I think that your course would be wonderful for a woman who's even thinking about having a baby.
And
Like,
I would really hope they take this course. Yeah.
yeah, because we were saying before, I just think that especially in today's world where healthcare is not promised. It never was, but especially with all of the issues that are happening now, people being taken off of Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security, social services, everything's being taken away.
Yeah.
So you're
Right.
not even knowing who to go to, and anybody who's left
Exactly.
are so overwhelmed that
No.
that concierge service template is what you need. Like that's exactly what you're saying. Like you
Right.
could no have three doctors in each category. So that way if this one doctor is not
Right.
available, you have this doctor to insert in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just knowing the questions to ask too, because sometimes pediatricians will say, yeah, your baby needs a lactation consultant, or yeah, your baby needs an occupational therapist. But then it's like, you have to get the right one. Not every OT works with newborns. Not every OT specializes in tongue tie. And so I also educate parents on the questions to ask, the providers you want to find. You don't want to just go to anybody and you also don't want to spend $1,000 on a person if they can't even help you. So it's really just about empowering them and giving them information. And
Will you be
the
talking
mom,
to professionals, like, also targeting professionals with your course to kind of
I plan to, yeah, I do plan to. So I'll be releasing another course pretty soon, and it kind of segues off the pregnancy to parenthood course because the second course will be you just found out your baby has a tongue tie, now what? And that's another big thing is when parents are told that, they go into panic mode. And remember what I talked about is they're going to do one of two things is one, they're going to go to everybody and it might not be the right people, or two, they're going to do nothing. So that second course that I'm creating really breaks down what a tongue tie is, what it affects more than just breastfeeding. Here are all the different ways that you're going to treat your baby. Here's the things that might not support you. But then at least then you can narrow down, okay, this is where I need to start. These are the people I need to see. I'm not going to jump to surgery. That's another thing is there are providers out there that want to just do surgery. They see a tongue tie and they're like, surgery.
like, hey, 1 second,
Right?
I haven't even met my deductible yet.
Yeah, seriously. This reminds me of my situation. So again, not to like dive into too much of my details, but I had to do an ultrasound. They found a polyp on my uterus or my cervix and a fibroid on my uterus. And my gyno, lovely, she literally said to me, you don't want to have kids, so I'll just remove your uterus. That was her first solution. Was to completely remove my uterus.
Not an ablation, not hormone therapy, not
Like, what? Sir?
thank you.
Yeah.
No,
And
thank you.
yeah, and I felt like that defensive mom too, where it's like, wait, you looked at my baby for 2 seconds and you just want to do surgery right away. It's like, no, can we talk about this for
Don't we have 3 options here?
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Right.
the different
Yeah.
stages of denial. Like, I need to know
No.
what other options, but I feel like
Right.
everything is a happy meal, right? You pull up, you get it, gone. You pull up, you get it,
Right.
gone. And that
Right.
doctor that you run into, like yourself, who wants to like
Right.
create a slow cooked meal so we can figure
Yeah.
out what
Yeah.
ingredients in it,
I
it's so
know.
far few and in between because if
Right.
you are if your health insurance, we should have 15, 20 minutes with each patient before it kind of is not
Yeah.
feasible for you. So I think a lot of people are trying to figure out how to receive the correct care, but also to not be judged because I know that, like you said before, so many
Right.
parents feel like they're being judged if the baby isn't
I know.
thriving the way that the
Right.
world tells them to. So then they
Right.
get scared. They don't want to have anybody say that they are abusing the child, but then
Right.
you have doctors who will look you dead in the face and be like, "Are you making this up?"
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's the thing too, it's like, okay, if your baby needs surgery, if I need surgery, let's talk about it, And that's the thing too, is I feel like when moms are told this, there's no kind of pre and post plan.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, "Hey, you need surgery." It's like, "Okay, look, if I need it, fine, but can you ease into it a little or give me information? Like, let's talk about the pros and cons and what I need to do before and after." And so that's something too is I try to take the fear out of the surgery itself. Like, okay, if your baby needs surgery, let's let's have a plan for before and after. Let's get you mentally ready so that when we physically go to do it, you are ready to support your baby.
Yeah.
And that's just, my goal is to get that information out there and there's no pressure. Like I never want parents to feel like you have to take my course or this is the only way. It's
But it
more
is a
like
very good course to take. It's like all of us, I don't want to say all because you should never group everybody. But
right,
people get pregnant and then they buy the book, everything you need to know
right.
about pregnancy. And then you read that book and you are traumatized. Okay.
I know.
And by the time you're done, you're like, oh my God.
Right.
Like, you're gonna do what with my hoo-ha? Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so, baby.
I know.
But I
Yeah.
think that it's also knowing that a specialist, it's very different for me, because I'm coaching and I know how much a doctor has to put into their practice, but also you to take the time from your practice to also create a course, how detail oriented you are in making sure that people receive the most updated information as possible. But
Yeah.
knowing that in the real world, there are going to be obstacles out here. You're going to meet a doctor that you think
Yeah.
is going to
Yeah.
really work for you, and
Right.
it's not going to work out, and it's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Just you're going to have to find
Right.
another doctor, or they may not be able to fix that thing. So that's why I love how gentle you are with your
Thank
client,
you.
but because it means a lot, right? Everybody, hey, you're being spoken to. And what you need to do is this is the, you're like,
No.
I just want you to just hug me. Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, and thank you so much, but I just, I really my goal is to just get the information out there. It's all on my website. Do you put it on the link? Like,
I will. That's what I was gonna say. Tell everybody
yeah.
where they can find you, what they need to look for.
Yeah. So Lovely will have all the info on the post when you post the video. But the website is oralties.com. It's my website. You'll see all the tabs. It'll say courses. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Center for Infant Ties. I put a lot of just info out there, and I welcome clients and people just in general to call me, reach out to me. You can email me, text me. All my information is on the website. I want parents to talk to me and ask questions because, if you're not going to get the information from your pediatrician or your current providers, let me help you help them to help you so that we can help each other and just get that out there. But I also want to extend, to all your listeners. So from the air date for 30 days, I will extend a 50% discount. So whoever is listening to this and on your podcast or listening to these, I'll make sure that they get a 50%
And I
discount.
will put all that
Yeah.
information in the post.
Yes.
So you'll know what to put in there. And when you're
Yeah.
speaking to the doctor, I love your personality because
Thank
it's
you.
interesting. It's interesting that you said, that the doctor said, well, since you don't want to have children, I feel like, especially in this world, you have people who may not want children of their own, but their whole
Right.
hearts are for, they are the
Yeah.
best people to take
Yeah.
because they have the bandwidth to see
Right.
the bigger
Yeah.
picture sometimes.
Yeah.
When the mom is stuck in the middle of the storm,
I know.
you can
Yeah.
step back and be like, "Mom,
Yeah.
okay, you sit here and you drink some water and you calm down. I'm gonna
Right.
talk to baby, and then we're
Yeah.
gonna have a consultation. We're gonna figure it out,
Yeah.
and I'm with you. You're not by yourself because
Right.
so many moms feel like they're by themselves
I
after
know.
birth,
Right. Yeah.
and we all know that postpartum depression is
No.
absolutely, it can be so devastating to
I know.
everybody involved.
Yeah,
So
for
you even
sure.
creating something like this that allows people to feel safe, talking about the things that scare you sometimes, but also talking about the solution, right?
Yeah.
we're like, it may be dark today, but the rainbow comes out.
No. Right. Right.
We're here for you.
Yeah.
So
For
I thank you
sure.
so much for being a part of the podcast again.
Yeah.
I was so excited when you called. She sent me a email, and I was like, yes,
I
yes.
know. I saw your email and I was like, what if she's like, you've already been on my podcast. I don't want you back.
Never. When you drop your next course, you will be on here again. You
Oh,
drop
I
your
love
next
you.
course, you will be on. As long as I'm doing this podcast, you are always welcome. I just love
Okay.
your person so much. It's just I know how much energy you're putting into helping others, but I want you to put that same energy into making sure you take care of
No.
yourself. Tell that man of yours that you need to you that he gonna have to take you into town every once in a while. Spin you in a circle.
I know, right?
Dance.
Yeah.
I love it. I just thank you so, so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. And
Thank
I
you.
will be in
Oh
touch soon, sweetie.
my gosh, you too lovely. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alrighty, take care.
You too, sweetie. Bye
Bye.
bye. I I love this conversation because it reminds all of us that preparation isn't about perfection. It's about partnership, awareness, and heart. And Dr. Nguyen has heart for days. So whether you're the mom to be, or provider, I want us to remember that confidence starts with knowledge. Knowledge is your power. And it's all about healing from the inside out, right? The more you know, the more comfortable you are on the inside, the better it will show on the outside. And I just thank you guys so much for being a part of this conversation because you didn't have to sit through it and you did. And we appreciate it. So, to all you mamas, you are not by yourself. Baby, I did it. You gonna get through it. It's okay. Your wig might fall off, may have one ponytail, inside out drawers. You gonna be okay. We got your back. And remember, we're learning how to articulate our feelings, wants, needs, and desires so we can better advocate for ourselves and the people that we love. And I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Lovely out.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found some healing, connection, and joy. Until next time, bye, loves.